Well, hello again, sports bettors. It's Jonathan here from the School of Bets. And in this video, we're going to take a look at what it takes to win. The 5 attributes that we see in winning sports bettors that you should adopt if you want to improve your sports betting game. Okay, the first trait that we see all the time in winning sports bettors that you should adopt is patience. Now, if you want to win at sports betting, it's a long game. You've got to play the long game. You've got to be ready to be in it for a long time. And by that, I mean you're not going to win 90% of your bets or 70% or anything like that. You are going to win at probably at best something around 55%. And at 55%, you're going to make money betting on sport. So, play the long game. Expect that there's going to be ups and downs and shifting in momentum, and you're going to have little streaks of winning and little streaks of losing and so on. But it's about patience. And the other aspect of patience that's often not spoken about is to know when to not bet. Know when to not go looking for action. When the opportunity just doesn't present itself, you need that real patience to say, I am not going to bet today, or I'm not going to bet on that particular market because I don't see the opportunity there that is going to suit my style of betting. So have the patience to wait for the value opportunities. That's a trait you need to adopt if you're going to win more often betting on sport. Okay, the second trait, very important trait to become a winning sports bettor, is to have a passion for betting. It is so hard in life to commit to anything if you don't have a passion for it. Certainly you can commit to things short term and you can kind of push on through, but we know sports betting is a long-term game and you need to have passion for it. You need to enjoy doing what you're doing. Now that doesn't mean you watch every minute of the sport that you bet on. It just means you need to enjoy the process of betting. So how you go and find those markets, doing the research, trying to work out new ways that win, going through your betting and history and looking at where you've gone right and where you've gone wrong. That all takes passion and commitment. So passion is absolutely critical. If you don't have passion, you're going to make lazy decisions. And over time, lazy decisions will lead to losing bets. And then at that point, you're out of the game. So you need passion. Now, you can't just manufacture passion. You either have it or you don't. So if you're going to get into sports betting in any sort of serious way, you need to look yourself in the mirror and really question, is this something you want to do long term, or are you just going to remain that recreational bettor that looks for fun, which is nothing wrong with that. It's all about passion. The third trait that we see in winning sports bettors is emotional stability combined with an appetite for risk. And what that means is if you're going to bet, it's gambling. So you need to take on a measure of risk. Now, some bettors try and take on bite off small amounts of risk. Other bettors take off huge or love risk and go for larger bets. Now, I'm not saying one way is right and one way is wrong, but you need to understand what level of risk or risk tolerance best suits your style of betting and your personality. Now, that links heavily into emotional stability. Because if you're going for something that's more risk than you should, and by that I mean maybe you're staking too large, maybe you're putting too much of your bankroll on the line, it's going to cause you to feel heightened emotions. Now, heightened emotions, particularly when you lose, can turn to anger, can turn to resentment, can turn to sort of guilt, depending on the way you feel and react to losing, and then that leads to bad decisions. So the trait you need to improve, it's a little bit two-pronged, is emotional stability tied in with understanding your appetite for risk. The fourth trait that we see in winning sports bettors that you can adopt and employ with your sports betting is strength of conviction. Now, this actually permeates through life, not just sports betting. There are times in life where you need to stand up for what you firmly believe to be the case, despite the fact that consensus might be going in 180 degrees the opposite direction. Sports betting requires strength of conviction. If you're doubting yourself and you're hesitating or you're changing your mind based on an opinion that comes from here or an opinion that comes from there, you probably shouldn't be betting on that market. You need to have conviction about what you're betting on. Okay, it might still lose. It doesn't mean it's going to win. But if you have strength of conviction, what it means is you've probably gone and done that research, and you've probably actually got some real solid reasons as to why you're betting. People who don't have strength of conviction, when they're quizzed on why they placed a bet, they often actually can't pinpoint the real reason. Sometimes they just shrug their shoulders and say, well, it felt like it, or I just wanted action. No, you need strength of conviction. The biggest component to strength of conviction is being a contrarian. Now, I'm not saying be a contrarian for the sake of being a contrarian, but the fact is, when you find the best value bets, it's often when lots of people have gone the other way, and then you found an outcome that is not actually getting hit by the public in any kind of way. That requires you to be a contrarian. You might listen to local media or pre-game media on an event, and they're all talking about something else, but you've actually bet the opposite way. That doesn't matter. They actually don't know. We don't know what their betting record is. Your strength of conviction can allow you to be a contrarian when it suits, and then you will access great value with your odds. The fifth, and I think absolutely one of the most underrated traits that we see with professional sports bettors, or at least winning sports bettors, that you can adopt for your sports betting, is some basic math skills. It is unbelievable to me the amount of times when you have a conversation with a bettor and they're talking about the odds they've taken and they actually get the numbers wrong. They don't actually get the math right. Now, it just seems illogical to think that you're going to wager on an event and not actually understand what your return is, what your level of risk is. You don't understand what probability is. If you don't understand whether events are correlated or they're not correlated, and so on and so forth, all that kind of basic mathematical skill, then really betting shouldn't be for you. Well, it can be for you, but you're just gambling. You're just tossing a coin. The skill part that comes to betting on sport actually comes to how can you read odds? Do you understand what the odds mean? Do you understand what that means in terms of likelihood of winning compared to probability, and so on and so forth? Just some basic math skills. I'm not talking about high-level algebra, geometry, or calculus. We're just talking about understanding basic math skills as it relates to sports betting. It's underrated, it's really important, and if you don't know it, get over to School of Bets. We've got a great article on how to read sports odds. Seems obvious, but it's not. There's a lot in it. Get over there and read that article and improve your sports betting math. So that's it, guys. That's 5 traits that we see very regularly in winning sports bettors. There's actually quite a few more. There's an article over at schoolofbets.com the link is in the video notes. Get over and read that article and start to pick up some of these traits if you don't have them. You actually probably might have them, and it's about harnessing them and improving them and fine-tuning them and being aware of them, and you're going to improve your sports betting. It's actually it comes quite a lot down to the mental game than it does to anything else. Over at schoolofbets.com, you're also going to find lots of sports betting wisdom that's just not that common. We suggest you get over there and check out the site. And thanks for watching today, guys. Please, if you will, subscribe to the channel, like the video. I'm Jonathan, and I'm going to see you next time on the School of Bets.